Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Todd Menard, and we'll be going over the Greater Phoenix Metropolitan Housing Statistics for the week ending August 8th, and we'll also take a dive into the results for July 2022. Let's get right into our numbers. Looking across the board, we have 36 days closed on market, a month supply of just under 4 months, 3.73, 26.85 absorption rate. Our average list prices are down to 697,800, and our average sale prices hovering at 544,000. List price to sale price retention, 97.99%. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Take a look at active inventory. Active inventory is continuing to increase. We're at 19,268 properties available in the MLS at this particular moment. The new listings we took this past week were 2,423. That is our days on market at 68.4, and our days on market closed at 36. Taking a look at our price ranges, under $500,000 is continuing to grow. We're at now 50.96%. We were prior to 2020 COVID period at 72%. So again, we've been as low as 45%, and it's just now starting to climb back. Most of the gains of our inventory that we've been increasing is happening between 350 and 550,000. Taking a look at our $500 to $1 million price range is representing 38% of the entire MLS and running approximately 49 days on market. And of course, $1 million and up is very stable, has been for a long time, representing about 11%. What's not so stable is it's still very capricious in nature. Many of the properties, for no apparent reason, no specific anomalies in the marketplace, are sitting at 83 days on market. That's normally closer to 200. So again, very, very brisk in that $1 million and up marketplace. Taking a look at our spreadsheet across the board, those of you who follow us know the very center column, 2019 SW, represents 2019 same week of 2019 that we're currently reporting. That's in the amber color. And then to the left of that, we have 2021, which is just a year ago. Again, 2019 is pre-COVID, so 2021 is again within that period. Is sitting at the salmon color in the very, very center. And the two columns to the left of that represent the week over week comparisons. And lastly, the two columns to the right represent month over month perspectives, which we'll talk about when we get to June in just a moment. So let's talk about our week over week. 2,400 is the magic number. We want to be above 2,400. We were at 2,423 this past week, 2,276 the week before, 2,500 the week before that, 2,700 the week before that. So we've been very, very, stable in the fact that we're above 2,400 at this particular moment. That's a good sign, of course. As you can see in the goldenrod, we were as low as 1,900 units, but that was in a very good market of 2019. And we had as many as 99 properties taken last year, same week. Looking at the overall inventory, 19,268, that grew from 18,600 the week prior. Sliding your eyes to the right, last year we only had 7,890 properties in the MLS at this particular time. And 3 years ago, prior to the boom, we had 15,440. So we are well above, just as many as 3.5 months ago, we only had 6,000 properties in inventory. So this is 3 times that number, and it's very, very stable. When this market is low and we're taking under 2,400 listings per week, it usually identifies the fact that either the market's cooling off and people are going to, kind of stay in their houses. Maybe it's because they have children and they only like to move the children when they are out of school. It could be because we're going into a climate change, maybe a snow situation, but in the upper elevations, but certainly in the valley here, not so much through the winter. But we do change perspective from typical single-family resale to move-up buyers to the 55-plus community between October and March. So we'll see how that plays. But we're at 19,268. 827 of those are coming soon properties. 16,199 are single family non-distressed. 2016 new home construction properties. Typically these are either introducing a new community to the marketplace, to the realtor base, or it is an inventory home that might be 30, 60, or 90 days, or possibly even move-in ready. And again, in this example, 2016 of those properties exist. 19,224 non-distressed overall properties. You know, we continue to hear about the delinquent or foreclosure market, the shadow inventory. When's it coming? It's not. You know, we've been talking for months now about the fact that the reason it's not coming, although we've doubled our default rate from about 4.5% to 8%, where historically the default rate is typically about 7%. So in this particular, we're just really catching up to that. But what's really changed is that consumers now can pick up the phone and call an iBuyer just like that. Get a hold of an investor who's interested in offering them money for their home, make it go away right away before they get themselves into a default crisis. So again, this is the reason why you're not buying properties at the courthouse steps. The bank inventories of REO properties are very, very low, and HUD is almost non-existent as it relates to properties, as you can see. So this used to be about 0.5% of the entire MLS. It's 0.2% today. Pending. Pending gives us a temperature, if you would, on the marketplace. How many buyers are there actually engaging with a seller, meaning getting an accepted contract and entering into escrow? So we're at 3,581, which is a little less than last week. Sliding your eyes to the right, last year we were at 6,100, so we're almost 60% of the entire buyers, that 40% off of buyers as we were a year ago. A little further to the right, you can see in 2019 we had 5,667. So if that's really reporting a good, strong market, then 56, that might be the number we should shoot for. We're at 35. We could certainly use that additional 2,000 people in escrow at any one time. Why are they not? Why is that number dropping? It's not dropping necessarily just because our population boom in Arizona has finally waned. It's slowing because of the sensationalism that people are listening to as it relates to interest rates going up. Sure, they were 3%, 3.5%. Now they're 5.5% this morning. You know, it could be the fact that people, so that obviously if that makes properties more difficult to afford. So I totally understand that perspective. However, you should at least contact a lender and see what other programs are out there. There's 3, 5, 7-year ARMs that are great right now, speculating that your mortgage rate would not change for 3 to 5 or 7 years, depending upon the package you purchased. And then after that, there potentially will be incremental increases. That gives you 3, 5 to 7 years to sample the market. And then if there is a reprieve and the rates go down, refinance or recast your loan at a lower interest rate. So again, those are some of the ways. Even a 2-1 buy down, a seller subsidized loan, even those types of programs are available. If you're not familiar with those, contact your realtor, or if you are a realtor, contact your lender and learn a little bit more about that. But again, this is the portion right now. This is the hot spot. So from a buyer's perspective, now's probably the time to put an offer in on a home because there's more inventory. 3 times the inventory, half as many buyers in the marketplace, and as you'll see in just a moment, the month's supply is almost at 4, where it was under 1 month's supply just 3-4 months ago. So taking a look at that, we're at 3.73, we're at 0.68, half of a month's supply, just over half of a month's supply, reporting last week. That number seems a little off, I believe. But if you go to the right a little further, you'll see 1.15. That's probably a more commensurate number, being a year ago and somewhat reflective of what's happening in the marketplace today. We were at almost a 2-month supply in one of the best markets Arizona's ever seen in 2019. So 3.73 is a significant amount of inventory, and right now it's caused because of so few buyers in the marketplace. If you added 2,000 more people into the marketplace, that would be a much more reasonable number of maybe 2.5 months supply, and that's a sweet spot for our inventory here in Arizona. Taking a look at average sale prices, we talked about went down. Average list prices, average sale prices are sitting at 544. If you slide your eyes to the right, 501 is where we were a year ago. We're not even at 10%. We're about 9%. And if you recall, all year long, I've been telling you, speculating on this next 12-month cycle through the end of December 2022 would average somewhere in the vicinity of about 8%, maybe 8 to 10% max, certainly single digits anyway. And then next year, 2023, depending upon everything remaining similar in the marketplace, we should be down to about a 0.4 to 5 month supply, 4 or 5 month supply, and appreciation somewhere between 4 to 5 months. So again, these are good signs. We'll take a look and see how the market continues to progress. Market is getting slower. We were as low as 27 days on market. We're now at 36. 60 days on market, 70 days on market. Those are normal market numbers at about a 2.5 to 3 month supply. So if we're keeping inventory, if we're selling inventory and we're looking for that number, then realistically we need those 2,000 extra people in the marketplace. List price to sale price retention, 97.99. Way over on the left, you'll see the rule of thumb is 97.8. So we're almost there, almost back to that equilibrium that we need to be at. It's coming. It's just not here as of today. So let's take a look at the month of June 2022. July 2022. How did we make out? 11,506 new listings were added in comparison to 11,200 last year. Sliding your eyes a little further to right, last month we took 13,009 listings, about 1,500 more than we did this month, which is also August. July, August is a vacation month for many executives and people, and with the kids that are out of school. So that is normally a little bit of a cooling off period that we have in July. Enters into August by about a week or so, and then obviously the kids are in school and the market goes back to returning to a more stable perspective. 19,500, just under, properties available in the MLS. We only had 9,200 properties available a year ago. Sliding your eyes to the right, we had 15,000 properties available, so we've added almost just over 4,000 properties to our inventory just in the last 30 days. So you can see that when you don't have the sellers in the buyers in the marketplace, how quickly that inventory can add equally as fast as when it is heading in the opposite direction. 4,421 people on average were in the MLS marketplace in escrow last month, 8,900 a year before that. So there's your disparity, 50% roughly. Taking a look at our closed units, we had a 6,178 closed units last month. That's the lowest number we've seen since December of 2014. So again, normally these are above those numbers, somewhere in the 7s and 8s, but 6,100, we've seen some 66s and some 67s, but not 6,100, under 62. So that's something that we are going to be watching. But again, if we had 2,000 more people, we would have been at 8,100, and that would have been like we were the month before, and that would be commensurate with where we should be at this particular time. Looking at closed distressed inventory, again, these numbers here, 23, 10, and 2, still stay less than 0.3% below the entire volume of the market. So again, half of what it would normally be in what might be considered the normal markets we've experienced prior to this year. 3.15 month supply is where we ended up. I want to bring this up. 4 to 6 month supply is a neutral market. 6 months, higher than 6 months, is a buyer's market. If properties are sitting on the marketplace for 6 months or more, it's a buyer's market. 4 months or less is a seller's market. And quite honestly, historically, Arizona has been in a seller's market averaging about 2.5 to 3.5 months supply. So when we're at 3.15, or as we are today at 3.73 months supply, it's only because we don't have those buyers in the marketplace right now. Sellers are being a little more creative. Rather than discounting your price, if you are a seller, why don't you consider talking to your realtor or talking to a lender about subsidizing a buyer's loan instead of reducing your price. It takes about $20,000, maybe $30,000 max to subsidize a loan where you would be 2% off. The buyer would be able to have a monthly payment of 2% less for the first year, 1% less for the second year, and then of course normal rates from that point forward. But it would certainly help the buyer qualify, as well as put the buyer in a different frame of mind when they're looking at your home as far as your competition is concerned. Taking a look at days on market, most important thing is, again, we're talking about what was the end of July 2022. So we were averaging 32 days on market for a closed inventory, and again, that's slower than it has been by about 3 to 5 days, and that's again a good sign. Finally, taking a look at the list price to sale price retention, it was at 98. Slide your eyes way over. It was at 101. Even further than that, it was at 99.8 last month. It's at 98.2 this month, and currently we're at 97.99. So the market is stabilizing. It is finding its equilibrium, and this is the statistics. Now, one of the things I also want to finish up with is going back to that buyer's fright or fear of what's going on in the marketplace, which is really what's keeping them out of the marketplace, is that whether you're listening to local news or you're listening to national news, most of them are reporting national financial and housing perspectives. So national job rate creeped up 0.1%. Arizona job rate creeped up almost 0.3%. So the Arizona job market, if you look at the corridors, Loop 303 corridor, you've got in the Buckeye area all the way up into almost into Surprise, you've got that whole corridor of all large corporations that are going into those warehouses. In addition, local municipality-wise, you have all the infrastructure coming in there as well, such as your, these Fry's and Safeways, the grocery stores, the police departments, new schools, things of this nature that are going to help those areas thrive, which then again also are the predominant new housing market areas. And so as those properties are now, there's fewer buyers in the marketplace, there's more incentives to purchase a brand new home than there has been, both for the consumer and for realtors alike. Looking at the north part of that, in the North Phoenix, just north of Norterra off of I-17, where the Loop 303, Sonoran Desert Parkway intersects with I-17, you'll see there's the Taiwan microchip plant. That's going to bring a couple of thousand jobs into that particular area, which is then going to stimulate the housing. It actually already has, with all the pressure that China's putting on Taiwan. Many of the Taiwanese engineers and people like that have left Taiwan and are already residing here in America. So again, these are some indicators that we have a very, very strong market. The same thing's happening off of the Loop 60 corridor, the 202 and Loop and the 60 Superstition Freeway down in the Southeast Valley, in your Chandler, Tempe, Mesa markets, Gilbert markets down there. Construction, industrial construction is booming. Jobs, both Chandler and the city of Phoenix and Surprise are fantastic in luring in new businesses into the marketplace, and those new businesses offer jobs, and that's why Arizona's economy and the GDP is doing so much better than we are nationally, which you never hear about. So it's easy for people who stay abreast of their favorite talk shows or their favorite television shows to just be hearing national numbers, and the national numbers are so far are significantly lower than the rest of what is happening in Arizona. So please, if anything, listen and look for Arizona local news, or stay abreast. Stay tuned with me every Wednesday. We certainly will make sure these slides are available for you. Thank you, everybody. Certainly appreciate all your assistance. These are the different ways in which you can find me. You can find me on Alexa Flash Briefings. Just tell her to add West USA Realty Market Analysis to your flash briefing. Every Tuesday morning we update that slide. Instagram TV, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. You can hear the podcast, same narration, or you can go to youtube.com/West USA Realty if you're interested in seeing the narration with the PowerPoint. Thank you very much, and look forward to talking to you guys next week. Have a blessed day. Take care.